Good morning, everyone. wait, you gotta say it like text. Good morning, everybody.
Hello. And good morning, lovely people.
It's Dank. It's Dank and Rebel.
All right. Hello.
All right. Well,
How's it
are we
going?
jumping right into it?
I don't know. Do we jump right into it? Do we got anything else to talk about?
Kevin, we always have shit to talk about.
Yeah. If we could just record this in like your office, then we would be like, tune in randomly. We're going live. You'll get some real good conversations that way.
We probably could do that at some point. Good morning, everybody.
Yeah.
See? Dom knows. I didn't bring coffee this time. Did yours get delivered yet?
Mine is delivered, so I'm ready to rock.
Oh, Kevin's fancy with his coffee. Anywho, what are we talking about first? We're gonna get into some strange shit today.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we should do the student loans thing first because I feel like the other two topics we can.
We'll never end up talking about it if we don't get it out first.
Yeah, so maybe we go with the milder topic and then we hit up the other two because we know those are going to take the rest of the show.
So I know that you're really enjoying the fact that you get to pay off other people's student loans now.
Yeah, I mean, I have a lot of opinions about that, as I'm sure most other people do. But, you know, the biggest one I have, and this is a bitch about my own situation, coming from the military, you know, I've been in 2 deployments and I've done almost 17 years of service in the reserve, and I still don't even have 80%. Well, I have only 80% of my GI Bill to use. I don't even have 100% to use. So now, you know, I don't think I've even used $10,000 worth of GI Bill.
That's insane.
And the other problem is, so I went to a flight school that wasn't even supported by the GI Bill. So I pretty much went through that full school without getting a dime paid by GI Bill. And then I, over the course of the last 10 years, have paid off the student loans that I had, because whenever you enter into a contract with somebody, you're supposed to honor it, right?
Right.
So I paid that off, and then even whenever I did my other 2 re-enlistments, there wasn't even, I think they call it a kicker. There wasn't even the option to do like the student loan repayment program is what they called it. So I didn't even get that option. I didn't get a bonus. I didn't get the option to do the student loan repayment. And I didn't even get to use the GI Bill for the school that I went to because it wasn't supported.
That's crazy to me.
So, yeah. So everybody, you know, you go talk to a recruiter and they're like, oh, yeah, we'll pay for your school. And what really made me mad is after one of our deployments one time, we came back and they always have a guy that comes in from the VA and they talk about, you know, getting your VA benefits if you've gotten a disability, or, you know, you basically say, my back hurts, I want to get it looked at because I think it may have happened on this deployment, you know, something like that. And then they bring in another guy that talks about your GI benefits and being able to go to school and everything. So that guy comes in and he's talking, and he's like, yeah, we signed a guy up, and the guy wanted to take golf classes, and we paid for his golf clubs. And I was like, excuse me, you didn't even pay for my flight lessons. So,
and that's not cheap. Like, it is not cheap to get your pilot's license.
Yeah, so that's, you know, I'll get off my soapbox and get back to the topic of paying for other people's student loans. But that, you know, that's where I'm looking at this from this level of, you know, I entered into a contract with the government and I've been honoring my side of the contract, and I haven't seen much return on that besides, you know, a few dollars here and there for some like basic classes that I've gone to at some other schools. But then Joe Biden signs an order and says, yeah, let's let's give these people $10,000.
And there's the other part of your whole situation where you don't even know if you're going to walk away with like retirement and stuff now.
Yeah. So they've, I mean, that's the whole topic that we kind of got into last week about, forcing a vaccine on people. And if they don't get it, they're going to kick them out.
So far you have covered pretty much all but 3 years of your contract, and they haven't done shit for you.
Yeah.
Is that what we're saying? I mean,
yeah, like I said, no three enlistments, no bonuses, no kickers saying, we'll pay your student loans off or pay at least this amount of your student loans or anything. So I don't know. Maybe I'm just doing it wrong. Some people seem to know the system, but for myself, I haven't figured it out, I guess, because some people I talk to them and they're like, yeah, I got a $25,000 bonus and I've got the student loan thing, but I'm like, every time I haven't got it.
I feel like we should give them a little bit of credit. We should give them a little bit of credit because the discounts on Rangers tickets are nice.
Yeah, but that's not even the government. That's like private companies just going on, like, I think it's called VetTix or GovX or something like that. You go on there and sign up and prove that you're in the military, and then they give you the discount anyways. But yeah, I mean, I was looking at the website yesterday, like the whitehouse.gov, and they were talking about how for the last, I think they're going back to 1980. And in 1980, the average price of a four-year university was $10,000 or something like that. And I was kind of surprised. It only said now it's $22,000, which I'm thinking like they're lowballing that for sure.
Yeah,
I would guess more like 60,000. But they're saying that government benefits haven't kept up with the rise in inflation, and I'm like, well, whose fault is that? Is that the government's job to raise money, government benefit money to universities, or is it their job to go to the universities and say, why has your tuition raised, 600% or something like that,
Yeah. I mean, if Kayla would have gone to school in Kansas, it was going to cost $43 a year.
$43 a year.
Yep.
So basically you've got 2 years of government benefits to get you through, and then you're left on your own anyways.
Yeah.
I mean, it helps, but at the same time, does it though? Because you're going to be paying it one way or the other.
Right.
Well, it's spread out over people, but really you're still going to be paying it. If everybody starts going to college, you're still basically paying your own student loan. Now it's just in the form of a tax.
Well, we had this conversation the other day. I don't care if you've been to college or not.
Yeah.
People going to college just is like indoctrination camp to me. I'm like, wow, you just paid a lot of money to be brainwashed.
Yeah. Well, the other side of it too is even, the people that go to college, they may not even finish the college, but yet they still got the student loan that they still have to pay off.
Yep.
It's still a contract. So, you go to school, you get a little bit of schooling, but you don't get the degree, and then you still have the student loan to pay off, and now you're asking other people to pay the contract that you entered into. And the school, for sure, they already know, hey, the government just said they're going to give $10,000 to students. Why don't we raise tuition?
Right.
Like, why anybody who's not doing that? Ford's already done that with their Ford Lightning.
There's a Ford Lightning still?
Yeah, so their electric vehicle, as soon as the government said that they're going to give like a $7,500 government subsidy for electric vehicles, they raised their electric pickup like $8,500.
That's what the Lightning is these days? Like, because you remember the Lightning from like high school, everyone just thought they were a badass.
Yeah, it's like the V8. No, this is the electric. pickup that only goes about 100 miles before you got to recharge if you're carrying a load.
Oh gosh, that's so lame. That's so lame.
Yeah.
Who wants to drive a truck like that? I don't want to drive a truck like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to take you, let's say you're going a standard distance, which is maybe 350 miles a day. If you're carrying a load, 350 miles a day, you have to stop at least 4 times to charge your vehicle.
To charge, hoping and hoping that there's a place to charge it somewhere.
Yeah, hoping there's a charging station, hoping that you don't have to unhook your trailer in order to not block everybody while you're at the charging station.
That sounds just stupid to me. Like,
well, I mean, there's a lot of stupid coming out. That's for sure. Student loans, back to student loans. That's a whole lot of stupid coming out, and
yeah. Well, and like I said, I just don't. So you're essentially, when I don't think you should ever even have to pay for school. Like, I don't understand that. Like, we're born into a society that tells you have to go do this in order to be this, in order to do this, and the whole time, really, you're just working for someone else. They're training you to be a slave in your own life.
Yeah. Well,
And
I mean, you look at
Sorry.
universities and what they're paying for these days, and a lot of it is just waste.
Yeah.
And I get it. They want to attract people to their university. You want to have a nice campus. You want to have, good dormitories and nice cafeterias and everything else. But, universities didn't have all that stuff back in, the very founding of universities. You go back to Harvard and Yale back in the day, and it was purely just, it was a building, and you went there and you knew the lecturer was at this time, and then that was it.
Yeah.
So now we're just paying for all this fluff, so that students can have, a place to go study, a place to go bowl. Who knows what they've got on campus these days. I haven't been on one in a while. It's been a few years since I've been there, but
the whole thing just bothers me. Like, I mean, the whole thing. You're talking about having to pay money for something you have to do in order to get a job. They require it. It's the same people running the show. It irritates me. Like, you have to have an education to get this job, to make money, so that I make money off of you. Like,
yeah, I mentioned it last week. Like, even secretaries, they're requiring some sort of bachelor degree to be a secretary,
and that's insane. And
yeah,
the only reason, what's the purpose of requiring it?
Yeah, I saw a funny meme the other day that said it was like the caveman Unga Bunga looking guy, and the caption was it said, "Forget everything that you learned in college," and he said, "I didn't go to college," and they said, "Well, you're unqualified for this job." And it was like confused Unga Bunga,
Yeah. I mean, but seriously, it's not like most of the people I know have like psych degrees. That's not helping you in your job now. Like,
yeah, like there was no I wouldn't really have much of a problem paying for people's engineering degrees, doctor, medical doctors. However, those guys make good enough money at the end anyways that you're like, well, you can pay those back anyways. But whenever I'm going to be paying for somebody to get some liberal arts degree in, God knows what,
right.
just so that they can have a piece of paper that tells them that Starbucks will let them be a barista. Because that's what it's sad. Like a lot of them, that's what they end up doing, anyways.
Well, it's like, and it really doesn't mean like anything. I take my mom for example. My mom did a couple of years of college. I think like maybe one or two, but she still makes six figures. She doesn't use anything she learned. I
Yeah.
bet she didn't even retain half of it.
Yeah. I mean, even the engineering degrees, which I get, like you have to know some math and some physics, but even the calculus classes that I took while I was trying to do my engineering degree, I was like, why do I need this?
That
I'm
was my
never
thought.
going to use this.
Yeah, that's what I said all the way through school. When are we ever going to use this in our work? Like, and I didn't know what I was going to be doing, but I knew it wasn't going to deal with solving for X. Like, I don't do that in my job now. What do I
Yeah.
need it for?
Well, that's why, trade schools, plumbers, electricians, things like that, that there's actual value to those. People need those every day. And there's, especially around here, you try to get a plumber to your house in, any kind of quick amount of time if there's emergency and they're having to shuffle to get people to your house. And plumbers are making, six figures once they get some experience and
Yep.
some know-how. And then from there, it's not like it's, once you figure out the industry, a lot of these guys go and make their own business and they work for themselves after that. So
Yeah. I keep telling my kids to go into like a specialized area. Like I'm like, Lily, be a welder. Like
yeah.
a chick welder is the coolest thing ever.
You've been watching Shameless?
I forgot that Debbie did that, but yeah, I mean
Yeah.
I've seen Shameless.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what she does in Shameless. So I thought maybe that's what inspired you.
No,
Yeah.
no, I found out how much they make, and I'm like, go be a welder.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't have near the amount of school you have to go to. And I mean, you're pretty much a one-trick pony.
Right.
They trot you out there to prance around for a little bit, and then you say, all right, I'm done, and you go home.
Exactly. God, that would be a nice life. Maybe I should be a welder.
Yeah.
Go back to school. Just kidding. I'm not going back to school.
I still haven't figured out what I want to be whenever I grow up. So
Same. Right now, it's just Tom Snow's bitch. That's what I want to be.
oh, we're dropping names now.
They don't know who Tom Snow is.
She said
That's
Jon
not even
Snow.
a real name. It doesn't even sound like a real name.
She said Jon Snow from
Jon Snow.
Yeah. Winter is coming.
Oh my gosh.
Expect 8 inches of snow.
Are we getting into aliens soon? I'm excited about alien talk.
Yeah, I think we can go ahead and switch on over to the aliens.
Cat's here.
Now it's a party.
Kit Kat's in the house. And she would come in right for aliens. She would. So we're talking about the Hill article. I freaking didn't pull it up like a smart guy. I meant to. What's your take on all this? Because I got a couple of theories running through my brain.
Well, I mean, so Congress is now on hot pursuit of trying to figure out what UFOs are.
Right.
And there used to not be this big of an interest until it seemed like David Fravor's encounter. That seemed to be like kind of the last, like it was hard evidence that they captured on pretty good footage that something weird was up there. And then, he seems to be a pretty credible source. It's not like he's some wackadoo out in the middle of New Mexico who's like, yeah, I seen them. He's a
they always
Navy.
pick the best people to interview.
Yeah. Well, he's a Navy commander, and his backseater saw it while he was flying his F-18. And then his wingman, or wingwoman, actually, it was a female that was flying with the other plane. His wingwoman also saw it, and her backseater, and all four of them are telling the same exact story, so it's not like they're making this up. And then they all, like I said, they also got the video evidence to back it up and corroborate everything that they said. Plus the radar technicians that were, being their air traffic control for that time also are talking about seeing it and telling them, we're picking this up. So they actually vectored them. I don't know if everybody's seen, to me, the best interview that David Fravor did was with Joe Rogan, because they kind of go through the video one by one, and he explains like everything that was happening in the video, what his weapons systems operator was doing in the back, as far as like capturing the object that was flying and switching between screens and looking at infrared and, explaining, this is what we're looking at. This means that the object we're looking at is much hotter than, the sky around it, and there should be exhaust coming off of it, but there's nothing. And like, he explains all that through that interview, and then it zooms off to their capture point. So it was, as he was saying, he was aware that, or he knew that it was aware they were there, and it was
right,
making movements and stuff that was just,
You want to know what my favorite part of this whole thing is? That they changed the definition of UFO in their eyes, because it's not just, so now it's aerospace and undersea.
Yeah.
And I love that part, because I have always said that aliens
come from the ocean. Yeah.
That is why we have not explored it like we should.
Well, they say we know more about space than we do the ocean,
Because
which
space
is
isn't real.
pretty bizarre.
Told you I was going to get weird.
But yeah, they've seen videos of these things coming in and out of water.
Yeah.
And that was one of the interesting things in the Congress hearing that they did, I think, back in May. The guy that they were talking to, he's saying, we know that these things are capable of flying in our atmosphere, going in and out of water. And then, to your point, he did say they may be capable of space travel as well. So for sure, we verified that they can fly. They can fly in the atmosphere and be in the water. But
that's what I'm saying. Like, you don't hear about when we send like spaceships and stuff up there. You don't hear about them running into, like, those stories don't come out. They went to the moon and ran into a bunch of aliens, right? Did that happen? I mean, I don't know. People say it did, but like,
yeah.
I just don't. I truly believe that they are closer than anybody thinks. I don't think they're in some far off planet out in the middle of space. I think they're from our own area, I guess.
Yeah, you think they're like the Atlanteans?
Yeah. I mean, it is from a spaceship. Pulled it right off my spaceship.
Heather's house is actually Area 51.
I mean, I put it right in front of y'all's faces. You just don't catch on.
It's hiding in plain sight.
But yeah, I mean, my thoughts are, one, I mean, it's all about my beliefs, and my opinions come from my beliefs. I don't believe that there's space. I believe that we live under the firmament. I believe that the sun, the moon, and stars are inside the firmament, and that there's water above the firmament. Okay? I don't believe that there's like a bunch of little green men flying around in space. Like, that's not real to me. So I do believe that there are extraterrestrials, but they come from other lands or the ocean. They have to.
Yeah. Well, we'll get into that here in a second if aliens doesn't take us the rest of the show. But yeah, I mean, I think it's interesting that Congress has decided to say that these may have non-human organs. Yeah, I saw that. I was laughing.
It's all up here.
Yeah, we'll do a study in here and see what neurons are connecting all up in there. But yeah, I guess there's no hard evidence that anything has come from space that we know of.
Exactly. So far we've only seen them, and every time, why isn't every time that they see them, recently anyway, the real footage that's coming out, they're like by water.
Yeah, it always seems to be over water, or going back to water, or coming out of water. Yeah, it's probably just octopuses. Octopuses got more going on down there than we think.
Well, then there's other weird stuff. Octopi are weird. Okay, that's just weird. The fact that they can fit into little bitty holes with massive heads, like what? That's weird. Yeah. Anyway, what was I gonna say? The fact that they're starting to drop hints as to what's really going on, in my opinion, is, I mean, I think that's cool. We're never going to know the full truth on what's happening. There's a reason they're bombing the oceans.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of what I was wondering is, like, are they prepping us for something big that's going to come out, or do they even know what's going to come out? Do they, is that the reason why they're starting to talk about this more, so that when it does come out, we're just kind of like, oh, well, just another Tuesday in America.
Like, why is there UFO talk in bills for COVID? Like, that's what I don't get. Like, almost every single bill that's come out there's a little section dedicated to UFOs.
Yeah.
What do UFOs have to do with COVID?
Well, every bill has stuff hidden in it that has nothing to do with the so-called name of what they say it is. Like the infrastructure bill had a whole bunch of garbage in it that had nothing to do with fixing bridges. And they sneak it in there so that it gets passed, and then they name it this bill so that whenever they talk about it in front of everybody, they just say, oh, this is all the good stuff that's in the bill. Well, what about the bad stuff? Because we know there's some stuff that you're leaving out.
Yeah.
And it's public record. Like, people have access to these bills. They can read it for themselves. But it's like, it's also whenever Obamacare came out and they were asking Nancy Pelosi, like, what's in the bill? And she was like, well, we're just going to have to get this passed, and then you can see what's in it. And it's like, why would we pass something before we know what's in it?
Exactly. Well, and that's what they want. They make them so long, hoping that nobody's going to read all of it, and like get it passed before their term's up, so they can get more money and power. Population control.
Okay, there's our first one. I actually get to use the ticker now.
Speaking of Nancy, though, and your favorite topic of school loans, she's not on board. Well,
She's
Nancy,
not on board.
mm-mm.
It must be
And
hurting one of her stocks.
she says that that's not going to pass because Congress has to agree, and Congress is not going to agree with that.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's obviously not something that the president can just instate with like an executive order.
Yeah, I mean, the
You know,
president.
it's got to get passed through several systems, and I'm surprised the Supreme Court hasn't ruled it down. You know, if we're going to loop back to student loans, I forgot one more thing I was going to mention. I was looking on Facebook, and I've got a bunch of liberal friends on there that they were talking about. They're bringing up Bible verses and saying, well, if the Bible says to love your neighbor and take care of your neighbor, and you should be like grateful to be able to help your neighbor, and they started dropping some Bible verses about that particular thing, and I was about to start dropping Bible verses about the Bible also has a lot of things to say about entering into contracts and not honoring them.
Yeah, and how can one be? How can a person even argue that and also be cool with abortion? Like, love thy neighbor, but murder thy babies.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, I mean, the hypocrisy, just like you start putting holes in all their theories, and then they just move on to the next topic, and then you put a hole in that one, and then they're like, well, gun control, and then you're like, well, if women had guns, there would be less rapes and this and that, and they're like, well, abortion, and you're like, well, if abortion, if people are responsible, and they're like, well, we should get free healthcare, and like you just keep putting holes in every single one of them, and it's either that or they just walk away from the conversation completely,
or they resort to name calling, and then there's no conversation at all.
Racist.
That's what I've learned through most of this whole. I don't even know what to call this last 3 years or so. I'm gonna call it BS, I guess. Through all the BS, that is what I've learned: who you can have conversations with and who you cannot have conversations with. And there's a lot of people that you cannot have conversations with.
Yeah, an alarming amount.
Yeah, it's very sad.
Yeah, you have to, and even before you can start the conversation, you have to tiptoe into it.
Yeah,
like test the waters a little bit.
Yeah,
kind of
dip a toe in. So, how you feel about Joe Biden?
Yeah. But even, I mean, Joe Biden, maybe he's an alien.
I feel like
maybe the aliens sent him because he was like the reject of their nation, and they're like, just send him out there to the humans, let them wreck them.
I feel like he's a living puppet. Like, honest to God, I feel like he's just a zombie, and people are like, eat your eggs, old man. And he's like, okay, I'm eating my eggs. Yeah. And then they're like, say this. Okay, I'll say this. He's like a giant walking zombie.
I think he's the alien from Men in Black, where it's like the little guy sitting in the head,
Who's the little guy?
I have no idea, but yeah, that little guy is just the reject of the alien nation, and they sent Joe Biden here to bring us all down.
He's the plankton.
Yeah, they're like, we'll send him out, and then we can live above ground again once he gets through messing it all up. We're tired of the ocean.
We're about to take this country back.
Yeah. I mean, the aliens too. You could go back to, the ancient theories as well. All the evidence that's around the world, pyramids and stuff that just doesn't make sense. South Africa, Egypt.
Do you think the pyramids were built by aliens, or do you think they were built by giants?
Can they be both?
Alien giants?
Yeah. Why not?
Could be. Giant aliens?
Why are we limiting ourselves to one or the other?
I'm just going through theories that are out there.
Yeah.
I'm just spitting
What
out
was it?
theories.
The Anunnaki?
Yeah.
Weren't they supposed to be giant aliens?
Well, fallen
Supposedly.
angels, which
Yeah.
I believe are. I feel like that's what aliens are. If that's what we're talking about, they're fallen angels. But that's what
Yeah.
the Nephilim were.
I mean, that gets into like art creation and everything too, which is a whole other rabbit hole. Like,
Yeah.
why are we here?
It's a good question. I ask
One
it
of
every
the
morning
yeah.
when I wake up. I'm like, why, God? Why am I still here?
One of the things I always wonder is if we were, let's say that theory is correct and the Anunnaki did come from somewhere for some purpose, and then they created us to carry out that purpose. Like, I wonder, like, if because they would have created we would have been like cattle according to some theories. Like, we were created for this purpose, so we were like docile. We only did what we were told, and then somewhere along the way, somebody got some knowledge. Like, somebody ate from the tree of knowledge and figured out something. And so, like, are some of these people still just like in that old setting where they're docile and they don't want to ask questions, they just want to do what you're told, don't rock the boat?
I feel like that's very. I mean, it's a valid concern. It's. I feel like that's what we are. We are cattle.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well,
I don't feel like
social security, that's a whole other aspect of being human that doesn't make any sense.
Well, now I'm thinking about 50,000 other things.
Yeah.
Let's go to Antarctica and figure it out.
Yeah, I guess it's about time to get into Antarctica.
I have the same topic. Talking about aliens and weird shit. Antarctica is where you go.
Yeah. Well, I would like to see, like you've been saying all along, why do we have so much military there? I'd like to know there's got to be some footage of something going on there.
Why is it such a secret?
Yeah,
like, if they're not lying to us about what is happening in Antarctica, why can we not go? And I don't mean go visit the little strip of land that comes close to touching Africa. Like, what is happening on Antarctica or under whatever it is? Why are we not allowed to know?
Why are we guarding penguins and ice?
Yeah.
24/7, 365, making sure that nobody gets in. If you take a speedboat from South Africa to Antarctica, you're going to get intercepted real quick. Or a plane, a helicopter.
There's like
why is there only a small piece of Antarctica you actually get to see?
Well, why won't they even let you get close to it? Like, that's what just blows my mind. You can't even get close to it.
Yeah.
There's a certain latitude that you cannot go past. They won't let you pass it.
Yeah. Well, like I said, you can go see like a little landing spot. There's like a bay with a shop that was built in like the early 1900s, I think, from some of the first expeditions that they made there. And you can go see that part. But besides that, your access to the rest of the continent is completely off limits. And the excuse to me is weak that we don't let you go explore it because you might die. You know, they don't want expeditions going on there because their reason is that either the Navy or, you know, whoever is guarding it shouldn't have the responsibility of mounting an expedition to come save you if you're about to die out there. That's one of the reasons, anyways.
That's the dumbest excuse I've ever heard.
Yeah. I think I was telling you about it a couple weeks ago. They kind of said the same thing back in like the early 1900s, 1920s, and 30s, whenever people were trying to fly around the world. And, you know, they were getting their own planes. And then, you know, they're starting in LA. And then they're like, I'm going to start in LA and I'm going to fly around the world. And the Navy said, y'all have to stop doing this because we're getting tired of coming and saving y'all. And it's like, whose responsibility? If I take that, it's on me if I go down. I don't care if you come save me or not.
Right. I mean, that seems like a dumb excuse. So we're not allowed to fly around the world. Like, we're literally not allowed to fly around the world anymore, Kevin? Is that what you're telling me?
That's what I'm saying back in the day. I mean, obviously, because that's the thing, as a pilot, technically I could go fly around the world, but it would be very difficult for me to do on my own. You know, like I could go rent a plane, but the best I could do is I don't have the money to go rent a huge plane. The best I could do is go get like a Cessna 172, and even then there's limits because obviously the person that I'm renting it from is going to be like, you can't fly this outside the, you know, continental United States. So there I'm already limited. Plus all the, you know, most countries aren't just going to let you fly a private plane in without having some sort of, you know, documentation and fees and everything else. And especially, you know, if that'd make a hell of a story. You know, U.S. military member flies into Russia or China, tries to gas up and keep on going. Like,
well, and okay, wait, that just reminded me of the other topic that freaks me out about Antarctica. Because why does everybody agree on it? Like, that's scary in itself. The entire world was just like, yeah, we'll share that. It's cool. But our military, like from the video footage that I've seen, our military is the one like protecting Antarctica.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's why there's all the theories about like Nazis doing experiments in Antarctica and finding some sort of weapon that could have, you know, helped them make the Third Reich last for 1,000 years. And
I haven't heard of any of this. What?
yeah, I mean, it's a lot of just kind of like fun theories, but the Nazis were supposedly in Antarctica digging around for some stuff.
I mean, I know that, like, I think Hitler went, right?
I don't know if he went personally. He may have. He probably did. Hitler liked to hop on planes and go do photo ops. So, I don't know. Maybe we should look that up.
We probably should. Like,
Let's see.
There's some insane stuff going on in Antarctica, and we, like, just let us go. Just let us go. If there's nothing to hide, if you know, if flat earthers want to go, let them go. I don't see what the harm is in it unless they're hiding something major.
The first story that pops up is from a history.com story that says Hitler sent a secret expedition to Antarctica in a hunt for margarine fat.
What?
Yeah, for margarine fat.
Okay. Like, how did Hitler become so powerful? I feel like somebody at some point should have been like, this dude's a fucking moron.
Well, whenever your country is suffering from the effects of one war, and then somebody comes out and says, we're going to make this country better, and all you got to do is what I tell you.
That doesn't sound cultish at all.
Yeah. I mean, that's basically what it turned into. But it all stemmed from, just hard times.
We're from the government, and we're here to help.
Yeah. Just put all your faith in us, and we'll make everything better. And all you got to do is have blind faith in us.
Yeah. But don't trust in your religion or anything else. Just us.
Yeah, we'll tell you what to believe in.
Exactly. You're not allowed to think unless we tell you what you can think.
Don't ask questions about Antarctica because we know everything there, and there's nothing there.
There's nothing going on there. Just don't look over here. Don't look there. It's the weirdest thing. I want to know. How do we sneak in?
Apparently they flew a flight over Antarctica, and the crew that was, so it was a Nazi flight over Antarctica, but they were, and this is a direct quote from the story. It says they were running low on fuel and were forced to throw out extra gear to lighten the aircraft weight. That included boxes of tiny metal swastikas, which were supposed to be dropped across that part of Antarctica to cement the Nazi territorial claim. The swastikas were never recovered. So apparently there's a whole bunch of tiny metal swastikas spread out over Antarctica, staking Nazi Germany's claim to Antarctica.
Shut up. Excuse me, we're just coming to pick up our swastikas that were left here a long time ago.
We got to clean these up, so.
Don't mind us. We just need to look around for a few minutes.
You know how much one of those would probably be worth? Just like, because this was done in like 1939 or 38, something like that.
I mean, who's buying it? Nobody's going to buy that. What do you mean what they're worth?
There'd be some weird somebody who's like, yeah, this little tiny metal swastika was in Antarctica. There's weird people all over the place that would pay.
I feel like that's you. I feel like you would be like, guys. I mean, it's not my belief, but I found this swastika in Antarctica, and I'm hanging on to it. Come check it out. Look what I got.
Yeah, I mean, it would be a cool. I probably wouldn't pay that much money for it. Somebody would probably pay like $1 million or something like that. Obviously, I don't have that kind of money.
No, I don't think that you would like pay money for that. I think it would just be like something that you had that you could talk. Like, I went and did this. That's where your level would be.
We need to mount an expedition to go recover one of these.
We do. Like somebody at some point has got to stand up and be like, we're going to look at it. You can't stop us, right?
Yeah.
Like, if we all woke up tomorrow and decided we're going.
Well, that's what I was thinking is Elon Musk or one of these billionaires has got to have the money to be able to just say, I want to take a helicopter. I want to fly out. I want to land in the middle. What are y'all going to do? Like, are they actually going to shoot them down?
Probably. No, I feel like Elon Musk and people like that have already been to Antarctica.
Maybe they came from Antarctica.
Maybe, yeah. Maybe they came from Pluto.
But you don't believe in space.
I don't believe in space. I believe that there are other land masses out there. I believe that there is other land that is, and those areas, just like Earth, are called Neptune, Jupiter.
So like Galileo and all those astronomers of the day had some secret knowledge.
I mean, I don't know. I honestly, I haven't done a whole lot of research on them.
Yeah, because they're the first people that were mapping the heavens.
Well, and that's just it. Like, how were people making maps back then?
I mean, that's even the Mayans. They've got their observatory down in Mexico by Chichen Itza, where all the windows and stuff that were at the top of this little dome are lined up to like significant constellations, and even the building of the Chichen Itza pyramid is aligned to pick up the solstices at certain times of the year and cast shadows on the rock, like there's snakes that they built into the construction of the pyramid itself that go down the stairs.
Mm-hmm.
And it's supposed to be like a diamondback or something like that, rattlesnake. And on certain solstices, the shadows that are cast from the steps at the corner of the pyramid cast like a perfect like diamondback pattern onto the snake going down on the solstices.
What?
Yeah, it's a crazy thing. And then there's a lot of speculation about like clapping in front of the pyramid. Like when you clap, it creates this like bird sound that's natural to the region, that it goes and like reverberates off the pyramid and comes back and makes that same exact bird sound. Like the whole construction is just crazy.
Like there had to be some kind of technology or something. Like, how are people doing this a long time ago? I don't.
Yeah.
And there's pyramids everywhere.
And they all got built. They all got built like the Roman Colosseum was built in 8 years. And they estimate, you're going to catch me lying, but I think they said like the Great Pyramid in Giza was built in like 20 years.
How?
And it like
we
they
can't
do the
even
math
get
on it.
construction done on 35 in 20 years.
Yeah.
How are they building pyramids that freaking long ago with zero technology?
Yeah. Let me look up how quick the Chichen Itza pyramid was built, so you're not catching me lying on it, but I know that it went up relatively quick. So it says that between the 8th and 12th century AD. But let me see if it narrows it down a little more. That relatively isn't that long ago that it was built, but
I just don't understand how people why are people not questioning these things? Like, how are people not questioning these things? There's like, yeah, sure, it's what they tell us. They just had 50,000 Egyptian slaves put together some pyramids all over the world, and it is what it is. Just believe it.
Yeah, I can't find it immediately, but yeah, the construction, whatever we lost, like in the Library of Alexandria, and whatever we've lost just over time as far as construction goes, or technology that they had, like it must have been pretty significant, because it takes us 2 years to build a warehouse now.
Right.
And then after it's built, the warehouse has problems like water leaks, and they can't last 100 years without turning into a piece of crap.
Exactly. And like we still have houses standing from hundreds of years ago.
Yeah.
There had to be. I mean, there's a little bit of I mean, it's a theory. There's a little bit of evidence to prove that there was technology. but it's still hard to say definitely that there was. Like, that's what sucks is we have no answers. Once you think you have answers, you really don't have any answers at all.
Yeah. If you keep asking questions, once you think you have an answer, it just brings up another question.
Yeah. And like I think they've been lying to us about everything. Just everything. If they're not going to tell us what's on that slab of ice, like they're lying about so many other things.
Yeah, and it's like why would they lie to us about this? Like why can't we just get the truth?
Yeah, that's what I like. Why would they lie to us about anything? What is the point besides just keeping us stupid?
Yeah, why all the smoke and mirrors? Why can't we see behind the curtain?
Yeah,
but
I want to talk to the dude behind the curtain.
But I mean that brings, that it's always going to loop back to money for me, money and power.
Yeah,
we have to control. We have to control it all so that we can get money and power. And if we give away the one piece that we know, then we've lost control.
Yeah. It's all about population control. Not really. Not all of it is about population control. But a good chunk of it is. I mean, power for sure. It's about money and power.
Would that be a two population control since you said it twice, or?
It did. I also whispered it before that, and you didn't catch it.
Well, I'm putting a 6 up.
See, I love that we have an ongoing tally of how many times I'm going to say that. That's amazing.
But yeah, who gets to know what's going on, why they get to know it. We're all equals. Just give us the information.
Well,
we can deal with it.
That's what I don't understand. Like, for so many people that have like been to Antarctica, I mean, like, you can get on TikTok or any social media, and there's people that work at places in Antarctica, and they're posting about it. Like, why aren't people like that stepping up and saying something? What is going on? We just want to know. How are they keeping it such a secret?
Yeah, we need some Snowdens up in Antarctica to drop some secrets for us.
Yeah.
Just tell us what's going on.
I need someone. I'm sure they are. I'm sure there are people trying to talk about it. They just die for unexpectedly. I mean, total natural causes, but unexpectedly, and just they can't tell us anymore.
Yeah, people drop like flies these days. It's crazy,
isn't it? Anywho, we're coming up on an hour.
Yeah.
You got anything else you want to close the show with?
No, I think we actually hit all of our points this week. So
yeah, I'm shocked. But I could talk about Antarctica for forever.
Yeah, I was about to say we could bore everybody to death with Antarctica. We could really get into the weeds with some stuff, but
yeah,
that's just really our quick off the cuff thoughts on it.
Yep. And there'll be more. This will never be a topic we shut up about because
there'll probably be Antarctica shows until they come off us.
Yeah,
they're like, stop talking about Antarctica.
That or someone's going to. They're like, shut the hell up already. All right. Well, it was fun. We will see you guys next week.
All right. See ya.
Bye.